What's up, everybody? I'm Avataj, and welcome to this little pre-draft video for How Long to Beat, our Fantasy Critic League. The draft is just kicking off. If you're watching it, it means the draft has begun. Let's all have a good time. Let's get kicking into 2024. This is the video where I record myself picking the draft order, where I'm randomizing it by spinning a wheel. So that's something. But first of all, just for mostly new players, returning players will probably know all this stuff, but the first little bit of this video is I'm just going to talk about the draft itself, a few rules about the structure and that kind of thing and what to expect, and just some key points that you have to remember. And I'll also explain what the snake draft means in case you're not sure, because I always get asked. So I'm going to tell you. So if you're a returning player and you're not interested in any of that, by all means, just skip ahead if you want to see the draft order picking. Otherwise, enjoy. And hopefully this will be informative, especially for new people, if you need it. So let's get started. Let's talk about the draft itself. And the first point that I'm going to make is everyone picks 5 games and 1 counter pick. That means that at the end of the draft, you will have 5 titles on your roster, and you'll have 5 empty spaces for new titles throughout the year. And you will have picked 1 counter pick, which is a game that someone else has picked during the draft that you don't think is going to do very well, and you have counter picked it to bet that you're going to get points and they're going to lose points. There's also another counter pick that needs to be done throughout the year, but that's okay, we'll talk about that later, after the draft. The key thing is everyone's picking 5 games and 1 counter pick. And I wanted to also highlight that because we have the most players ever this year that we've ever had in the How Long to Beat League. We have 17 players playing. If you do the math, that's 5 games each. So by the time we finish the draft, we will have picked 85 games. Now, I don't know if I could even tell you 85 games that are coming out in a year, let alone to pick for a Fantasy Critic League and hope that they do well. So this is going to be interesting because, yeah, it could be quite interesting, I think. So bear that in mind as we get into the draft, and that takes me to my next point, which is kind of a big one, and this is kind of the main one. You would have heard me say it before. Everyone has about 24 hours to make their pick. So that means when it clicks over to your turn, you get 24 hours or thereabouts to make your pick and then click it over to the next person's turn. So this is obviously, as I've mentioned before, to allow for things like time zone differences, lifestyle differences, all those sorts of things, other commitments that we may have. Let's all remember How Long to Beat. We are an international community, and we have people in all sorts of time zones and all sorts of walks of life, all sorts of ages, all sorts of commitments, different family situations, different work commitments, that kind of thing. So the 24-hour window is kind of designed to put a time limit on a pick so that it doesn't take like a whole week for one person to pick, but then to also give enough time that if you just check in each day, you should be safe and you should be able to make your pick no matter what's happening in your life. And I say about 24 hours because you'll get a minimum of 24 hours from when it is your turn. You might get a bit longer because I'm not here 24/7, and I'll be the one who will be enforcing this if I have to. And if I'm asleep and I sleep for 8 hours, let's say, you might get 32 hours for your pick if it happens to work out that way. But let's not bank on that, because any time after 24 hours has gone by, the repercussions may come and hit you, which are also listed here. So after 24 hours, I will pick for you. You will not get to pick that precious little game that only you know about, that you think is going to do really well. Instead, I'm going to come along and be a big dummy and just pick the next most hyped game that is on the Fantasy Critic League site, and that's what you're going to get saddled with. So that might be okay because it's still a hyped game, so you might still get some score, but it's not the pick you might want at all. The other caveat, which I'm thankful we have never had to enforce this, but it's there just in case, I will pick for you twice if you don't show up, but if it happens a third time, we're going to kick you from the league. And that is purely just to keep everything moving, and we don't, maybe you've got busy, maybe you've got something better to do. Who knows? It doesn't matter. It's not always a bad thing. It's just some people lose track of time and don't do it, and that's fine. But so that we don't hold everyone else up, if it gets to a third time where you're taking too long, you will get kicked from the league. So you do need to keep an eye on this sort of stuff. And I don't want it to sound really stressful or anything, because it really shouldn't be. It's really easy actually to make a pick within 24 hours. I have had to pick for people maybe a few times in the past, but they've always managed to come back and continue picking and finish the draft themselves. So I don't see this being a big problem, but I just want to highlight it there because I'd hate it for someone to have to get kicked from the league, because I want everyone to partake and I want everyone to have fun. So it's just something to keep in mind, but please don't get too stressed about it. The other thing that I'd like to add to this as a little caveat, which I haven't got written here, is please communicate as well. If you know that perhaps something sudden has happened in your life and you are possibly not going to make your 24-hour pick deadline, jump on the Discord, send me a message, send a message on the chat, do whatever you need to do to let someone, and therefore me, know that this is the case. Because if it's within reason, yeah, cool, we'll wait for it. We're all cool people, we're all friendly people, we're all happy to have some patience and some compassion. And you know, if you need to adjust it a little bit, please communicate, don't just disappear, because if you disappear, that's when I'll start picking for you. And that's fine too, but yeah, these are just things to keep in mind, and especially for new players, this is the sort of stuff that can get a bit stressful, but it's not meant to be stressful, it's just meant to put a bit of structure around our manic international draft. So keeping that in mind, when you've made your pick, feel free to ping or at the next pick. So let's say you've made your pick and then it comes up saying it's my pick. By all means, on Discord, write at Abatage, it's your pick, so that I will get a notification on my phone, even if I'm not sitting at my computer, and I will see it and I will go, oh cool, it's time for me to do a pick. The thing with that though is, all right, let's notify each other, let's ping each other, let's add each other, that's all cool. But let's not try and do it too much. We don't want to annoy anyone and harass anyone. We don't want to every 5 minutes going, hey, it's your pick, remember, don't forget it's your pick. Okay, it's your pick. That's not what we're about. Just one simple at, if someone's already, notified the next person, leave it at that. We don't need to repeat ourselves. We need to give people the time to breathe. As I say, they could be sleeping, and it's no fault of their own that they haven't seen a notification yet. But feel free to also notify people, because I feel it's very helpful. I think we usually do it in the past. Most people don't mind a bit of a notification because it helps them know when it's their turn to pick. Fourth and second to last, the auto draft. You've heard me speak of the auto draft. If you're new, you've probably had a look at it, you've probably checked it out. What it means is that when you've set up your watch list on the Fantasy Critic site of games that you're interested in, and you can rank them, so the first pick can be at the top and you can go all the way through to your last pick at the bottom. If you turn on auto draft, what that means is when it gets to your turn to pick, it will automatically pick the next game available that is on your watch list. Now that all makes sense, and I know lots of people have understood that already, and we have a couple of people who do have their auto draft turned on, which is perfectly fine. I find it's useful if you know that you're not going to necessarily be around for a certain period of time. You can turn it on and off during the draft as well, like it doesn't have to be all one or the other. So if I know I'm going to be busy for a few days, I might just switch it on, just because then at least my picks will get done while I'm too distracted with something else. But in a few days I can come back and start making my own picks manually again. But because we have so many players, remember, if you only have, say, 5 games on your watch list, that they might not be available by the time it comes to your pick, because there are 17 other people around you picking. 16 other people, I should say. So it's good to have a long watch list for something like this if you care about it that deeply, if you want to get that micro about it, because essentially if there are no available games on your watch list, the auto draft will pick the next hyped game from the Fantasy Critic League website in the same way that I would pick for you if you took too long to make your pick. So that's just something else to remember. But the very last thing, and I do mean this sincerely, is have fun. I really enjoy the draft. The draft is a good time. It's great seeing what everyone picks. It's great seeing all the games that I didn't know about or that I haven't thought of and going, oh man, I really should have picked that one myself. Or just discussing it on the Discord, that kind of thing. I really enjoy the draft. It's like a buzzy time of the year and really kicks off the season. So please, by all means, do have fun. It's a good time. And, you know, don't worry about it too much. I'm sure we'll all make our picks in time, and just have a bit of patience. And the last thing that I'd like to talk about before we get to picking the draft order is the snake draft. So this is a term that refers to the order in which picks are made. So once we've got the draft order, we will have slots filled from position 1 all the way down to position 17. And that will be your order in the draft. So obviously position 1 will pick first, position 2 picks second, 3, third, so on and so forth. But do not despair. If you're at the bottom of the list and you're in those 15, 16, 17 positions, all is not lost, and this is where the snake draft comes in. So I'm going to illustrate it here with my handy pen. And once I actually turn on my tablet, that is. I don't have it on at the moment. Let's make sure we get that sorted. Okay, I'm recording this just off the cuff, so here we go. All right, so we start at number 1, right here. And you will make the first pick if you're in the first position, and then we'll make our way down the list. And we'll continue down the list all the way down to number 17, who will have the last pick of that round. Now, where we get snaky is that the next person to make a pick is number 17 again. But they just made a pick, and that is correct. They get 2 picks in a row. So we go down, 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 all the way to 17. Then we start at 17 again, and we start going up the list. So number 16, they get a pick only 2 picks after their last pick. And we go all the way up, and then the last person to pick in this round is number 1. And then number 1 gets to pick again because we reverse one more time. And we go down the list again, down the list again, and all the way to 17, where guess what? That's right, 17 is the next one to pick. And we go all the way up. And you can see, this is why it's called a snake draft, because it's making that snaky kind of S-y pattern. So, the key thing with the snake draft here is that the idea is that it kind of evens it out a little. So, of course, the people at the top are going to get the real juicy picks. They're the ones who get to pick the Breath of the Wilds or those sorts of games that will go really quick because we know that they're going to score really well. And the people down the bottom at number 17, you've already had 16 people pick before you, before it gets to you. So your options are kind of slim by then. But that's why in the second round, you get to pick first as kind of compensation, because by the time you've made 2 picks, you've only had 16 people before you. By the time the first person makes 2 picks, they've had, 36 people or around there, 34 people pick aside from them. So they've missed out on 34 titles. You've only missed out on 16. So that's kind of the balance there. But obviously, even though they've missed out on 34, the first person gets that first pick, so they get, hopefully, the best pick of the whole time. And that's the idea behind a snake draft. If you've got any more questions, feel free to ask. It's all good. Hopefully it makes sense. But let's get to the main attraction. Let's get on to the big wheel. Here we are. Let's spin it and let's find out our draft order. I'm going to go through very quickly. I've just popped them in alphabetical order right now. These are players and publishers. I'm just going to read out the players. We've got myself at the top, Abatage, Abisoft. This is not an advantage because it's just a wheel that we're spinning, so this is just alphabetical order. We've got Alex5101, previous champion, coming back. Bahimu, new player. Lovely to see you, Bahimu. Love to see you. Kafril, returning player. Seltzu, new player. Clumsy Penguin, our carryover champion from 2023 and 2022. Dragon H89, Emo-esque, new player, nice to have you. Everdread, coming back after a year off. Frozen Roy, obviously, a returning player. Gemini Drodson, a returning player. Nalb is returning. Low is returning. Matt's returning. Pokepaw's back after having a year off, but has definitely played before and even won our first league, our first season, I think. R2D2 1999 is also back, and new player Scarlet Kitsune is here as well. Lovely to have all you new players here. I hope the odds are always in your favor. I'm now going to spin this wheel, and let's see who's going to get the top draft spot for 2024 in the How Long to Beat Fantasy Critic League. Oh, it's Dragon H89, long-standing player who's been here right from the beginning. Congratulations, Dragon H. Love to see you back with Noise Labs. And congratulations, you're in the first draft pick position. The prime spot. Who's going to be number 2? Let's find out. Oh, we're going Clumsy Penguin or Emo. Emo-esque new player. You have lucked into the second slot, second pick of the first round. Party Possums Publishing. I like the alliteration. Nicely done. And I'm glad you managed to get in, Emo-esque, because I know you didn't get in till the very end there. So, who's in third? Oh, Low is back. Nice to see you again, Low. I think you were new last year, but it's great to have you returning. We'll surely release studios. I think Low had a couple of games maybe that didn't release, if I remember correctly. Or maybe I'm just talking out my ass. But you're in third, Low. Congratulations. That's a bit better than last year. I think you were at the end last year, so nice to see you back up the top. Oh, we got Everdread or we got Frozen Roy? Frozen Roy. My partner in crime in the How Long to Beat draft wrap-up. Keep your ear out for that one. Back again with Frozen Frog Productions. Congratulations, Froy. You are in number 4. Let's see who will get number 5. Oh, it's heading my way. No, it's new player Scarlet Kitsune. Welcome, Scarlet Kitsune. Lovely to have you here with Yokai Tales Entertainment. You've got a good position there in position 5. Let's see you make the most of it. What about number 6? Oh, coming back to Clumsy Penguin, maybe? Yes, Clumsy Penguin going for a 3rd title this year after winning last year and the year before. But I'm surprised, Clumsy Penguin, you've got a new publisher with Rockhopper Rigmaroles. I thought we might see Eagle Incorporated try out their luck for another year, but apparently not. But either way, Clumsy, you have got 6th placed. Bohemu, new player again, is here for the 7th place. This is getting into the middle of the pack now with mixed reception. That's probably about true for being in 7th place, to be honest. So well done, Bohemu. Nice to have you on board. I'm glad you're here. Matt, you are the middle of the pack at number 8. Well, close enough to the middle of the pack. Charity Fraud Limited. Welcome, Matt. I hope you don't get shafted by Peppa Pig this year, and maybe Jesus will release the game after all. Pokepaw R2D2. Welcome back. Great to have you back. You are also in the middle of the pack at number 9 with my favorite child, R2. Yes, I said it, and I'll probably say it again. Nice to have you back, R2. Cafferel, long-standing member as well, someone who's played for quite a while. In number 10, Points Projected Productions. I love the reference. I love the alliteration. More P's than you can really count. Well, there's 3 of them. Anyway, Cafferel, welcome back. You are in position 10. Alex 5101, previous champion from a couple of years ago. Former Podster Productions, of course. Alex used to be a host on the How Long to Beat podcast. Not anymore, baby. Well done, Alex. You're in number 11. Not quite the end. Nalb, love this, maybe my favorite publisher name of the year, the John Richard Tiello Cash, or Cash, depending on how you want to say it. But Nalb, great to see you. You're kicking off the end of the pack at number 12 there. And I might say at this stage, don't be discouraged if you're towards the end here. Like I said in the snake draft thing, you get more picks right off the bat, so it can help out. And Gemini Drodson, welcome back with your new publisher, Poopy Games. Getting all poopy. I mean, I'm down the back here. We've got some classic players here down the end. But new player, Seltsu, welcome. You are in position 14. We're trying interactive. I think that applies for more game developers than we probably like to admit. But let's go for position 15. Looks like it's going to be my partner in crime on the How Long to Beat podcast, Pokepaw, back again after having a year off last year. Pokepaw was our first ever champion with their publisher, Pokey and Paw. You're at the end, Pokepaw, but never worry. You can do it. I believe in you. Oh, is it going to tick over? Is it going to tick over? Oh, it does. There I am with my publisher, Abisoft, in 16th place. And of course, we will bring up the rear with the irony of having Everdread in pick 17. Everdread, our Lord and Master, the creator of How Long to Beat, the one we have to thank for all of this. Well, in addition to the Fantasy Critic League developers, but the one we have to thank for our community, Everdread, with Beatmasters, is back again after having a year off last year. You're at the end, Everdread, but as we know, that means you get 2 picks in a row. So let's have a quick look at the results and go through them real quick. We'll be starting off with Dragon H89 with the first pick, Emo-esque in number 2, Low in number 3, Frozen Roy number 4, Scarlet Kitsune number 5, Clumsy Penguin number 6, Bohemu number 7, Matt in number 8, R2 in number 9, Kafril in number 10, Alex5101 in number 11, Nalb in number 12, Gemini Drodson number 13, Seltzu in number 14, Pokepaw number 15, myself in number 16, and Everdread bringing up the rear in number 17. Whew. Well, that's it, folks. That's the draft order picking. As I said, by the time you see this, you will probably be already drafting. So good luck, have fun, and enjoy 2024. By all means, ask questions, do whatever you need to do. I'll see you on the Discord, and may your picks be worth a lot of points. See ya.